The Wrestling Realm presents Wrestling for the Culture, where we highlight pro wrestlers and pro wrestling personalities of color. Here's your host, Brian H. Waters. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Wrestling for the Culture. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. As you can see, the colors have changed because we are in the month of June. So we're getting ready for the biggest event of our culture's history. Yeah, I said it. And because we're getting ready for this big event called Black WrestleFest, presented by the Pretty Heels, I have to bring on the founder, the one and only Miss Dani. Dani, how you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. One quick correction. There are three of us. So I want to say one of the three founders.
Oh, okay, my fault. Yeah, so first and foremost, how you feeling today? I know we're less than a week away, but you've been working hard. We see you on social media every day. Like if you're attached, you follow Black WrestleFest's Instagram and Twitter, you see there's always a new announcement. But how are you feeling trying to put everything together?
I feel good. Like I definitely am appreciative of all the great feedback. I'm super excited about this weekend. I mean, it's a huge weekend. Like you mentioned, it's Juneteenth weekend. It's Father's Day weekend. Like I never knew so many birthdays existed this weekend, like this week leading up to the weekend. So it's gonna be a super joyous weekend for so many reasons. And I'm just grateful for all the support, and I can't wait to like get into it and go through it and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we talked before, but I want to bring some of the conversation to the public. How long have you been a wrestling fan?
So I've been a wrestling fan since I was about 5. So that's about, right, 60 years. No, I'm kidding. But I've been literally a wrestling fan my entire life. I went to live shows. My uncles took me and my grandfather took me to live shows when I was a child. I'm from New York. I live here. So I was actually fortunate to have been in one of the largest and most well-known, right, arenas in the world at Madison Square Garden, where quite a bit of wrestling went on back in the late 80s, early 90s. So, I mean, I am the WWF superstar Saturday morning kid where, after my cartoons went off, I'm there with still like, can I get another bowl of cereal, right? To watch and see, who's wrestling on Superstars. I mean, it was funny because growing up, I had this conversation with a few friends of mine. We didn't have cable. So I used to listen to Monday Night Raw.
Oh, wow.
because it was scrambled, right? Because we didn't have cable. But we did have TNT and TBS. So I was able to watch WCW. So I will say my, Nielsen view attributed to those few weeks. The WCW won the Monday Night Wars. But I've literally watched wrestling my whole life, and I still watch it.
Do you remember your first wrestling memory?
I actually don't. I just know. I remember very vague of stuff back then. Like as I watch, like as in the past 10 years, we've been privied and privileged to have like a network and like Peacock and stuff like that. So things come back and I get to watch some things sometimes and it gets nostalgic and then things, resurface. But off the top of the head, like everything's like a blank. But I can sing a song if the theme music comes on or stuff like that every now and then.
Now, when you sit back and think about just your life in wrestling and growing up as a fan, when did you decide that you wanted to be a part of the business?
I would say that definitely happened in the past, I want to say 6 or 7 years. It was I think what really sold me was when I would go to the conventions, right? Finally getting a chance to spend your own money as an adult. When I would go to the conventions and do the meet and greets, right? And I would meet, I would meet wrestlers of all sorts, men, women of all times, of all ages, generations. But it was when I would see the wrestlers who looked like me, how embracing they were, right? So you've got Too Cold Scorpio, you've got Ron Simmons, you've got the Boogeyman, believe it or not, right? The Godfather. You've got Pete Jacqueline, right? Jazz. You've got people who look like us who are at these events. And it wasn't like, fan table, wrestler, shake a hand, take a picture, walk away. They're like, oh, hey, girl, give me a hug. And I'm like, whoa. So I'm like, oh, this is real. So then after that, we would like kind of like stand there and talk for maybe a few minutes. And then it was something like we would, me and my friends would go somewhere else and like eat. And then they would walk in. And then it's like, hey, and they're like, hey, and they would sit at our table. So we're like, well, what is happening? Are they regular people? You know what I'm saying? So that's when I'm like, oh snap. They are real people. And then that's kind of how it started. I started really, really seeing, I mean, we know that they're real people. That's obvious. Like I'm being, facetious by saying that. But when you really start connecting with them on whole other levels, like I've sat with Jazz and had conversations about bringing up teenagers, teenage girls, like that is unheard of, right? Because we're knowing her to be the phenom and like kicking butt for years.
Facts.
That's when it becomes real, and then that's when it's like, oh snap, she's got her own school, she's got her own promotion. How can I help, right? And then they're like, oh well, you can be a sponsor, or if you want to come out and help physically, or whatever, help put up some chairs or something. Like it's that type of stuff that I got exposed to, and I'm like, wow, so we can really build a community. Like literally, you can be a part of the mission in wrestling, right? By just kind of like being a human and being a person, and like just it started from fandom. So that kind of was how it all began, and I mean, here we are now, where I'm putting on wrestling conventions, right?
Yeah. One of the stories that I always like to share a story when I have with people. I remember at those wrestling girls' 3rd anniversary party, and you came in, and I remember you being on your phone watching. I don't know if you remember this, but you was on your phone watching. I'm not sure which event it was.
It was an independent show because my friend was wrestling. Isaiah Bronner, I think.
Yeah. And then I remember like whatever I was doing, I would stop like, what you watching? And you like real quick in 30 seconds explain to me the story and everything that was going on. And I just thought it was like the coolest thing because we all like love wrestling, but for you to like stop, like, no, I gotta watch this match. Okay, well, I'll party later, but I gotta watch this match. And so I thought that was the coolest thing. I had to bring that back up. When was the moment that you decided, okay, it's time to do something for us? Because everybody, let's be real, everybody talks, everybody has great ideas, some not so great, but it obviously, you have to put a plan into action. When was the moment you said, I want to do this for us? Do you remember?
Yeah, I would say it was around, I want to say the late summer, early fall last year. And it was, unfortunately, and I'm going to take a little spin from my like bubbly personality to get like real philosophical and like political. I'm not a fan of the word inclusivity and diversity being used as buzzwords. You know what I'm saying? They're real words, and they're important words, but I don't think they should be a trend, right? Don't put people there just to say, just to be able to check a box off. That's not right. Because the way the planet is built, right, literally, you have no choice but to be inclusive and to have diversity. Because it's the world, like I'm from one of the biggest melting pots, right, in the world, but the world is a melting pot. So I said, why are we ridiculing these companies, right, for doing exactly that, using these words as trends, right, hashtags, buzzwords, and not practicing it authentically. And I say that to say I go to conventions all over the country all year long, and there are a very handful of people who look like me, when I know that there's a gambit of us who were in the industry. You know what I'm saying? And it's for whatever reasons that they're not there. But there aren't as many of us who've had the opportunities for this place to be as packed and diverse authentically. So I said, let's be intentional with this, and let's create something that's super intentional. And that's what was the birth of Black WrestleFest, right? And I want to make sure that it's understood. It's called Black WrestleFest, and everyone involved is of color, but that's what it's about, right? Because I've got Hispanics of all sorts. I'm talking about people from Spain, right? People from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, the Latin America, South America, from all over. People from Africa, right? We've got people from the Caribbean. So it's really just celebrating people of color. So we say the word Black, right? But everybody's not quote unquote, right, African American. But that's not what the point is, right? We're just celebrating and highlighting the excellence that exists, that is more so being looked at as a hashtag and a buzzword, right? I'm being authentic with it. Every single person who will show up at this event who is in the industry is amazing at what they do. And that's why it was super intentional on those panels existing. Like everything else wrestling, we're hitting on every other job that's not a wrestler, because people fail to realize the ref is important, the person who rings the bell is important, the commentators are important, the backstage interviewers are important, right? All those things. The person who puts up the lights, the person who assembles the ring. These are all people who are in the industry who are just as important, right? We're talking about the gear makers. We're talking about the hair, the makeup people. We're talking about the designers, right? We have people who design outfits and then send it to the seamstress. So those are two separate people a lot of the times. Let's shine some light on that. And what's been amazing, like I just had to put out a bat signal, and I've had all of these friends who've made recommendations to these people, and I didn't have to go that hard to make sure that these people were of color. We're here, we're out here, we're doing it. So this event is really just to shine a light on all of that. Also, honing in on the importance of Black, like just like I'm on here with you, which I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Oh no, you
Black,
went out.
Black wrestling, Black media, right? The importance of it, like understanding that these outlets exist and we're reporting on it, just like we would any other sport, just like we would any other sector, any other industry. And then last but definitely not least, probably one of the most important components, which is Black women in wrestling, right? And their contribution. I'm so honored to have Chris Borno, who is the director and the writer of the film Lady Wrestler. He's done the work to find the information and the research behind this so that we understand that there are people who came before us, and these are the people we should pay homage to and not give flowers when they die. Let's give them while they're alive, in addition to when they're no longer with us. So that's what this is about. It's about being authentic, not just doing it during February, or 1 week a year, or one for the culture event. We literally have enough talent. We could do Black WrestleFest once a month for 12 months.
Don't threaten the world with a good time. But I mean, and that's the thing that I'm really excited about. It's going to be panels, video game tournaments, right? The sneaker culture. Yes. I'm not a sneakerhead, but I know a bunch of wrestling fans who are. Shout out to Corey, who's like one of my closest friends, and I always ask him like, okay, man, so what about this? What about that? And it's funny, like we see it on wrestling. Shane McMahon, Roman Reigns, Carmella. The list goes on and on. We see that the wrestlers are sneakerheads, so why not talk about it?
Right.
And that's what the thing is. Like we're so diverse in our community. You don't like no black people. No set of black people are the same, and that's one of the things that I'm excited about when it comes to Black WrestleFest. Is this family reunion, everybody coming back together. But seeing what everybody has to offer. Was the plan always Juneteenth weekend?
Yeah, I was intentional about that because I did it. That usually was an easier weekend to bring people together. And it was even though thank God, right now it's recognized as a national federal holiday. It doesn't touch on the other holidays. So like Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, those are usually also 3-day weekends that are a little harder to plan these type of events around because people plan, other things and bigger vacations. So this weekend, I felt was appropriate, just as I announced it on Martin Luther King weekend, right? Which was another great weekend to pick. It's intentional and we understand what we're celebrating that weekend. So I didn't have to veer far away from that. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's okay to work smarter, right? Not harder, and kill a lot of birds with one stone. So I thought Juneteenth was more of an appropriate weekend to do this. And I chose New York because I kind of understood the bureaucracy for the first event, and testing out the waters. And I just thought New York was the first place to do it. I will say I've gotten the one important piece of feedback that I think I've taken the most. I've like highlighted with like, a yellow highlighter and an orange highlighter is that people are like, move it around, you know, like Atlanta's told me, bring it here. I mean, Maryland was like, well, what about us? You know, like even the
Oh,
DC.
Baltimore. It's two different places, just to let you know.
I didn't say Baltimore. I said Maryland.
I know, but I'm putting a claim in for Baltimore.
Oh, okay. I made sure to say that because I got, you know, I got talked to about that. Maryland and Baltimore is not the same. So I was like, okay. But I have been, you know, Maryland has definitely been mentioned. Baltimore definitely was, you know, Baltimore. You know how many people we know. So Baltimore was definitely on the table. I mean, I've even had people mention the Midwest. So it's definitely something that's not just going to be a New York stable. Just because you know, there's quite a few of us who do travel for this. And I mean, if it just so happens to possibly be an annual event, we want you to be able to make a weekend out of it, right? Explore the city that you're in. And you know, go somewhere where maybe you've never been, but also, you know, come and enjoy, and we can do it like a real family reunion, right? Move it all over the country. Like, why not?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can say this, you know, I'll say, you know, I'm one who like never had that out of town family reunion experience. So like, hey, this is what's gonna be it. I'm down.
No, I'm with you. I just want to make sure, you know, it's accessible. I don't want to be too far, you know, from everyone. So the South, everything south of New York is definitely on the table.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I think, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Is there a chance? Because I'm pretty sure people want to know, as this expands, is there a chance for maybe I guess a mini Black WrestleFest during WrestleMania weekend in the future?
Well, we'll see. I'm open to it. More than likely because I like to work smarter, not harder. I would love to partner. I would love to be a collective. I think that is what works best for us. I don't want people to feel like they have to choose. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would love to be a part of a collective. So, I mean, I'm putting it out there, right? Whoever sees this, I'm open to that because I've been attending WrestleMania. Fortunately, right? I've been blessed to be able to attend for the past 5 to 6 years. So I don't mind it being a part of WrestleMania weekend, and you know, being a part of a collective so that we can schedule accordingly and not make, you know, people choose, well, you have to go to this or that. Because I know that was which was interesting. I was in the spaces when there was the planning for the cultural event leading up to WrestleMania weekend, the GCW thing, and AJ Gray said, he was like, oh, no, I can't compete with Wale Mania. So they moved the For the Culture event from midnight to Friday afternoon, just so that people wouldn't have to be torn between Wale Mania and that event. Which I think is that's how we give it up, right? We rather have a long party than to have to say, well, I could go here and then catch the tail end of that. So I appreciate that, but I can foresee that being something that, you know, Black WrestleFest is a part of next year during Mania in Hollywood, I think, right?
Yeah, yep, Hollywood. Pretty much. I don't not familiar with California, so you know, I just know they say it's billed as Hollywood.
Right. We're East Coasters, so we're like, okay,
Right, East Coast bias all day.
right.
But you know, before we get out of here, what is the one thing that well, how would you summarize like stuff people could look forward to that they wouldn't get anywhere else?
Well, this is really interesting because this was my ultimate underlying intent. The conventions that we go to throughout the country, throughout the year, are more so just meet and greets, right? They really hone in. Oh, meet and greets. They charge you. You know, you have an entry fee to get in, and then you have to pay an additional fee to meet whoever you want to meet. Which is cool because I mean, I've contributed, I've invested, you know, but I like I said, the experience that I had with like Jazz, just one of the thousands I probably can say, that was dope to me because I got to know who she was as a person. Yes, I like worshipped her, right, as a wrestler, and I looked up to her as a little girl, but I got to see her as a person, and we got to share information about our teen daughters. So I said, why not have a more interactive experience so that these people can actually see that the people that we love and like enjoy and embrace are actual people. So for instance, the game show, right? You'll be playing Family Feud. Rayhan Intanis, formerly known as Montana Black, he'll be the host, and he's hilarious and witty, and you'll get to know more about him. But I mean, as you know, Family Feud, there are the two teams. So who's to say you're not on the team with some champions from here in New York or some champions from the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just you sitting down in the crowd watching them and clapping for their achievements. You're literally in a huddle talking about what may be the top answer, you know, for that Family Feud round. Like, so that's an experience you won't get anywhere else. I mean, other than like Double Dare or something, right? That you have to join. But something like that. The panels, like panels are done ever so often. So this will be something where you'll have, I think we have a couple of panels where there are actual wrestlers who will be seated, and you'll be able to ask them a question that you probably more than likely wouldn't have been able to ask, you know, in any other realm. We have the video game tournament, right? And I think we'll have two consoles that will have WWE 2K22 on it. So I mean, I
gotta brush up.
Me too. I'm like, oh, I got an update sitting in there now. So I mean, like Big Game Leroy will be there and Jay Bougie will be there. So who's to say, you know, I don't pick Rey Mysterio and Jay Bougie picks Triple H and we go at each other on 2K22. Like, where are you getting that type of experience?
You gotta be careful. He might make you wear Crocs.
Listen, the funny thing is, I'm the Croc ambassador. So when when I heard all about that, I would just stay quiet. I'm like, he don't even understand. I was wearing Crocs before trying to spell it, but whatever. But I mean that
I just want him to get his own line. And you know, you can get the Pretty Heels Crocs, the Jay Bougie Crocs. You know, if that's what's going to help, I don't have to wear them. I'm not going to wear them. I wore them once.
They're so comfortable. Like
no comment.
So those type of experiences, right? You're not like, you literally, even though there's a ticket, right? A ticket price to get in, you can't really put a price on that.
Yeah.
You know, so I want for people to walk away and be like, whoa, you know, even if they don't know who Jay Bougie is, because there are a lot of people who are coming who may not super be familiar with the independent scene. They now will, more than likely, Jay Bougie will pop up on their whatchamacall. It'll pop up on their feed. Or like, if you're not familiar with Ref, which is one of our famous refs, Nick Shin, you'll now see him at it. Maybe your first independent event. He may be, you know, he may be the referee. So it's those type of experiences that literally are priceless, you know, that you can get at this type of event. Yeah.
Well, Dani, I'm gonna let you get ready to get out of here. But you know, like I said, I thank you for putting on this event. I'm involved in it twice as
absolutely
on podcast role, and I'm on Sir Wilkins' Black Wrestling Media panel with a plethora of other great men in this business. But also get an opportunity to support my sisters in this business too. So, you know, but you know, I'm happy that you and your team put this together. That, you know, because it's not easy. Anytime you're trying to organize something of this magnitude, when you essentially bringing people, I mean, you know, Stephanie Hardy, Keeks, they coming from the South.
Right.
You know, two of my friends who been on Wrestling for the Culture, who have their own platforms, who do great work, and they're coming up, you know, coming to New York City. Right. So, you know, that's exciting. And, you know, just so many other people. So, you know, I really appreciate you doing this, and, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, I thank everyone who supported. I think, you know, I'm encouraging everyone to come out. I thank everyone who will be attending. I did this for us. It wasn't for me. You know, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna have a good time. But it's for us. Like, it's for us, and I want people to come out and enjoy it. So yes, it is. It's painstaking, right? It's a labor of love. But honestly, the payoff would be everyone coming with positive vibes, having a good time, and like, let's try to make this the staple family reunion. I'm with it.
Let's do it. Well, let the people know where they can find you and information about too. But you know, people listening on their podcast and they're driving, let them know where they can find it.
Okay, so you can Black WrestleFest is actually on Twitter and on Instagram at Black WrestleFest. I believe on Twitter it's BLK WrestleFest. I think on Instagram it's the full Black WrestleFest. You can visit blackwrestlefest.com, find out more information about the event there. You can purchase tickets there. But in the, you know, throughout the rest of the year, right after June 19th, you can follow Pretty Heels on all platforms. Pretty Heels XOXO. So that's definitely on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm super personable. You can message me. I'll message back. Just, you know, don't be too creepy.
No, we ain't having that.
Right. I'm a warm person, and I'm approachable. So definitely, you know, any questions, comments, concerns, we're open to it. I tell people all the time, I'm a forever learner, so I'm always open to constructive feedback. We only are as better as people help us be, so I'm here for it. And again, Brian, thank you for your contribution to the community. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for Wrestling Realm. You and your partners are amazing, and I
Thank
super
you.
look forward to this. This could not happen without people like you who support it.
I appreciate it. It means a lot. This is, like something I've always wanted to do. I've always enjoyed wrestling, and I say this all the time. When we was in New York and for the party, I remember being around everybody and just kind of looked around and said, I always say this, where were y'all when I was growing up?
Right.
Because like this is my family. And I used to say it to Corey all the time. Me and Corey been friends for over 10 years. But, I was like, man, like, him and Dwayne, me and Hugh been friends since 6th grade. But it was always just like us getting like made fun of and all this stuff. Meet Dwayne in college, meet Corey shortly after that. And I'm like, all right, yeah, these my brothers. And then I meet more people, and like I was on Black Announce Table and Eve was saying like, the cool thing is like everybody cool. It's not a bunch of, excuse our expression, dweebs. Everybody is themselves, and that's the beauty of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody and looking forward to working and getting the message out there.
Definitely. And it's going to be a great weekend. Please, people, stop by. I failed to mention the wrestling show. We have an amazing wrestling show happening Sunday, which is also a part of Black WrestleFest. We tried to make it a full weekend event. Like I said, Black people like to party for a long time.
Yeah.
So just in case you've never been to an independent show, ever in your life, come
Now is the
by.
time.
It's going to be a great independent show. Our main event is Big Swole versus Mia Yim. I mean, not Mia Yim. God, why did I say that? She must be talking about me. Our main event is Big Swole versus Willow Nightingale, which I think she now goes as Willow. So yeah, it's going to be a great event. We've got title matches, so there will be about 4 or 5 titles on the line. You never know, you may bear witness to a title changing hands in Brooklyn. So come out, enjoy. Like Brian said, it's a family event. If you don't know anybody, it's okay. Once you leave, you'll leave with a few follows and a few phone numbers
and new cousins.
Right, some new cousins.
Yeah. Well, all right, Dani. Thank you. Appreciate you so much.